Okay, now I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start with the calendar to see if there's anything that we need to be mindful of today. And there is no red flag on the USD side, but there is the unemployment claims that again will have quite an impact on the market. It's just medium impact in this calendar, but I believe the impact will be higher. They will be bringing in some volatility around about 1:30 UK time, which is an hour before the market opens, the New York market opens. So we might see the start of the market volatility typical of New York before the market opens. So that's when we need to be mindful and see and mind our trades if you are in any. Now, I'm not in any trade at the moment, and I am waiting for New York to see how it's going to set itself up. There might be a slight spike up, but I believe that the support that we were holding yesterday is gone, and now we are looking at Bitcoin that has finally tested the 20 EMA on the daily. It is holding above it, but we need to see today close above it and tomorrow close above it to confirm it as a support. This is our channel that we've broken out of. So yesterday we had the support of this support and resistance line, and we were also holding the support of the 20 on the 4 hour, and now all of that is gone. The support line is gone, and now it's being back tested, and we have by the MA setup on the 4 hour, we are heading down for some more down action. On our 1 hourly levels, we are holding the 22.3 support line. That was initially 22.8, but I moved it slightly lower so that the swings, the downswings in this sideways action are better included. So we have another line of support at 22.4, which we tested last night, and at the moment we're holding. If that line breaks, we're going in for a correction. It's really choppy sideways, and it is hard to gauge which direction this is going. So that's why looking at the levels, in my opinion, is quite effective. And of course, risk management with tight stop losses. The stochastic on the daily for Bitcoin is floored. The 12-hour is heading up. It seems to be turning sideways on the blue line, and the 4-hour is coming down. Now it's made a big move down from yesterday. So we have the daily and the 4-hour going together, looking like this is going to continue to the downside, and this is also confirmed by the structure that it has broken out of. Yesterday the structure was holding, and now it's no longer holding. Now the structure is resistance, and our immediate target would be the 200 on the 4-hour, which I believe might offer some temporary support, but I believe we might be coming all the way down to 18.5, 18.4 in terms of support. So Bitcoin is in a different place, moved farther down out of the channel yesterday. I expected this to hold based on how the RSIs were, especially the daily. The daily had turned up, but it didn't hold. It pushed down some more, and here we are right now out of the structure. We've back tested it, and it's holding as a resistance. And you know what I'm gonna say next. If we break back into it and regain the support of the 20 MA on the 4-hour, that might be a sign for another swing to the upside. We don't need another swing to the upside for the breakdown. This structure is already ripe for breakdown, so we don't need another swing to the upside. ETH might need one if I count the swings, but if Bitcoin is going to break to the downside and do its correction, ETH will follow too, in most likely greater percentage. So we don't need that swing. That would be my reversal indication if the 4 hour manages to break back into this channel and manages to hold for 4 hours straight the way it was holding yesterday, because yesterday it was holding great for continuation to the upside. Technically it was looking like it was going to continue, but it didn't. It reversed down, and there it is. Now so today I would be looking to see if there are any spikes to back test the 4 hour 20 MA at around 30, sorry, that's XRP, at around 22.9. so here would be a possible back test. So it broke it here, back tested once, there might be another back test, and then coming back down, and that's the area of that back test. I'll put an 0618 with a 5% stop loss, and trade it down. So looking for a short, because again the 4 hour and the daily are going together to the downside. That was the trade yesterday, and I put in a long, and the long held for a while, but then this happened. The stop loss worked very well in terms of calculations, but then the trend pushed down, and here we are. Yesterday we did a lower low with reference to the local lows in this consolidation. So it's not a lower low with reference to the first low, it's a local low with reference to the ones in the middle. So we did spike a little bit below them. And again, if you had taken this long without a stop loss, you would still be in the red. It did reverse quite a bit, but look, for this was with half of the position a 6% stop loss, and you're out, and you have the chance to reset, rather than at the moment still be in the red after all of this. And this could have gone farther because it did break down from the channel. So that's why with this choppiness, like this is very very choppy. If we're looking at the stochastic on the daily, you can just see the kind of choppiness that we're having here, and it's not easy to read it. So rather than get trapped, stay agile and go with price action. So now with ETH, we are again, ETH was looking super for the turn yesterday, because ETH had already backtested the 20 and it held it. And here there were oh yes, after I'm done with ETH, I want to talk about Bitcoin's crosses, because I didn't mention them yesterday. So ETH is pushing right down on the daily right now. On the 12-hour, it's still lifting on the 12-hour with more conviction than Bitcoin's. There's the stochastic is lifting up, but the 4-hour is pushing down. So again, we have nice confluence for the downtrend, switching from yesterday's uptrend when they were both to the upside. It is on the 20 EMA on the 12-hour at the moment. It needs to hold above it at the turn of the 12-hour, and then continue above it and close. So we need to see that for continuation. It is below the famous 1640 support and resistance line, back tested. Why am I here on the 10-hour? I'll just change to the 4-hour. It is now in the process of back testing the 1640, and it will most likely back test the 20 MA on the 4-hour. Now, could it do the 4-hour stochastic for ETH is almost at the bottom at the moment. On the red line, the blue line's already there. So again, it could, because of all this choppiness, everything looks like it's going to continue one direction and then it reverses, because it's in a tight space and it's very dynamic. It's bringing the stochastic, which is the momentum. So the momentum is very dynamic, up and down on the 4-hour, very, very quickly. And the daily seems to be quite reactive as well. So we are at the moment under support and resistance for both Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we are holding the previous support as resistance at the moment. I would be considering where the daily is, how the daily is pushing down for a short today, or not, or just wait to see if Ethereum is going to break out of this structure. So at the moment, Ethereum has better ranges to trade down, so we might see a back test here at the midline and then come down. And the range would be 5.6%, so it would be a trade worth doing on the way down. And I believe Ethereum has one touch to the bottom, one touch to the top, one to the bottom, one to the top. It needs another one to the bottom and technically another one to the top to break out. If we don't take this wick into account, because again, most channels break out with 3 touches outside of the initial swing into them. But again, where we are and where we have been consolidating for almost a month now, we are, I believe, quite ready for a breakout. And stop losses will keep you adaptable and allow you to follow it whichever direction it goes. Okay, now since we are here on Ethereum, let's see Ethereum's daily crosses. Let's see if it has any particular daily crosses. Yes, so it was yesterday. It was yesterday that the 50 crossed over the 200. They're not going the same direction on the daily. So the 200 is rather flat. The 50 is indeed up. So this is a golden cross, and this would lead to a lift. Now this death cross here led to this drop, and this golden cross here led to this lift. If I am to switch over to Ethereum for a Bitstamp, just to see the previous golden cross, we don't have any. I don't know why we don't have any. Is this the day? This is the day. Okay, let's go back to the P. That's interesting. So I only have the previous one here on Bybit to show you, which led to a higher high in this double top formation, and the death cross here, which led to this drop. And now we have the golden cross, which is meant to be a massive buy signal and continue to the upside. We have yet to see what's going to happen. Ever since this crossed, we did have a huge reversal here, not a reversal, a huge correction here. And I'm gonna put, so the cross did bring about a big lift, and then we had a 0.5 correction. So we have to see if this cross is gonna bring a new lift. I'm not gonna have a look at percentages because it's a different place in the pattern. This is coming out after the drop, and this is at the top formation, so the percentage wouldn't be the same. And I'm going to change now to the weekly and see if we have a death cross on the weekly. We don't for Ethereum. We don't. I'm going to go back to the daily and leave the chart on the day. And now I'm going to have a look at Bitcoin. Again, on Bitcoin we have a death cross on the weekly and the golden cross on the daily. We have to wait and see what's going to happen with both of them, because technically the shorter time frame would have a more immediate effect, whereas the longer time frame would take more to play out. Also, the question here is the weekly the result of what has happened so far, or is the weekly projecting what's going to happen? So here is the golden cross for Bitcoin, which has switched on 2 days ago. We have seen a drop since we haven't seen ever since Monday we've seen 2 days of a drop. So we don't have the MAs going in the same direction, which would be ideal. I probably have them here. Yes, so here's where they go in the same direction. The 200s lifting and the 50s lifting. At the time of crossing, they weren't going the same direction. This one was rather flat. So this one happened here as well. And again, Bitcoin has more of a history. So with these golden crosses back in 2020, this was the pandemic, and the 50 crossed, it lifted slightly, and then came crashing down. Because of those factors. Here's where the 200 was pushing down and the 50 was pushing up, and they still caused a massive pump. So we could take them into account, but we still need to have the other technicals backing up any trading decisions, because we cannot be trading on a simple MA crossing on the daily, especially when we look back and we see that it's quite easily influenced by other macros. And we will have news on Friday coming out, and if that news again breaks support, which is what happened, where was it? Here. So here's where it was heading up. This was the consolidation, and then it came down for correction, lifted slightly, back tested the 50, could not get above the 50 on the daily, and then came down for a deeper correction, which was again the correction of this swing. And if we put the fibs, again, I'm expecting a correction for our swing, because I keep saying that the growth is not sustainable. If we look at this swing, it had 0.5, went up. Here is where the topping out happened. It couldn't move past the previous level of support and resistance. It just tipped previous peak a little bit, and here it is making a 786 correction. So it did what it was supposed to do technically. Now on the weekly, and that's the last thing I'm gonna say, because the TA is the TA that I've been mentioning all month. I want to say all day, all week, all month really. Now this is the weekly, with the 50 coming down over the 200. Now it hasn't crossed down yet. And it's the first time this has happened. We are on Bitstamp now, which has the longest history. We still have to see what this is gonna do. Now this is the first time any cross has happened on the weekly, so we don't have a golden cross to show you or another death cross to show you. So that's why this weekly event to me is harder to interpret than others. If I'm taking the same reference as the 20 crossing over the 50, just to see other crosses, here's the 20 crossing over the 50 on the weekly, bringing price action down, 20 crossing over the 50, bringing price action up. So the weekly interval seems to be acting in the same way as the daily one. These crosses do influence. So it's not, if I'm looking at the 20 crossing over the 50, they're not delayed. They actually show what's going to come. They might be initially the result of price action coming down, but they show more continuation of the trend. So it's not that they happen when price action has finished the trend. So if I see this pushing down, I would tend to think there's another push down, another massive push down, and we are likely to do another leg down. Now Bitcoin's also doing something that it hasn't done before, which is break the 200. This is why a lot of people are losing on their HODL so much, because they didn't expect the 200 to be broken. But all this consolidation here over the past 7 months has happened below the 200. So we are still below the 200 on the weekly. We haven't broken that level of resistance, and that level of resistance is the 25k level. And once we break the 25k, we're breaking the 200, we're breaking the 50, and most likely this cross will be undone and continuation to the upside will happen, if that happens. But this is going to take weeks to play out. This is not going to happen overnight. For instance, here we had the crossing of the 20 over the 50, came down, back tested the 200, and then it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks of up to turn the 20 and the 50 into back into support. So it's not gonna, we will have time to notice these events as they come for Bitcoin, especially since it's easier to observe in terms of movements, neater in progression. So that's the Bitcoin news. That's the biggest news, I'd say, this week, these two crosses in terms of events. And then we need to see if we're going to continue outside of our channels. It looks like we will. Again, New York might bring in some volatility. Today around 1:30 p.m. when the unemployment claims come out. And then tomorrow is likely to be quite volatile with the consumer sentiment and inflation expectations, because again, the 2% inflation target is quite important for the Fed and the rates. So depending on where the expectations are, the market might anticipate higher rates than they have been so far. So that's me. I will leave you now with Roy. Have a good day today. I'll be posting the updates now in the chats, and I'll keep you posted around New York time if I see a possible trade entry for a short position, because that's the way apparently price action is going today. We might not get it. The price action might have already started moving that way, in which case we'll have to wait for the next level down and the next back test. So we need to be patient as far as that is concerned. I'll see you guys tonight. I'll be doing a session tonight, having a look at this choppiness and what makes this choppiness so technically difficult to read and to trade. Just to have some trading observations to keep in mind. Next time we'll go into a consolidation that is this choppy. So it's good to know and to identify choppiness, because this is where the money that you've made on a nice trend so far gets lost, and you give it all back to the market. If of course the risk management is not there. So see you in a bit tonight, and have a good day trading.
So looking at XRP, yesterday I spoke about price action heading down for a test of this point of control red line here at 38.79. So it dropped in pretty fast at the start of the day. So you can see on this consolidation pattern here, is the question is this the higher high and the top out, or is there one more level, or have we topped out and we're heading down? Yeah, and potentially either we're heading for the higher high, or possibly even a lower low here. So we do seem to be coming to the end of this bigger consolidation pattern, but there's a lot of more. You can see there's just more moves in this. Yeah, when we zoom in on the closer time frame, just right at the top of this move at the moment, again you can see the consolidation range here where we haven't had a higher high. So part of the question I was asking yesterday is, you can see on this consolidation the point of control is at the top here, and there was a rejection after a couple of attempts to create that higher high. We got a rejection down, and we're on the lower support volume here. Yeah, and again, are we going to break through? We did break through it last night, and again, looks like we're potentially back testing it today at the moment. And then you can see even into a smaller, as we zoom in and zoom in, you can see another consolidation pattern going on here where it did create the higher high, and now we've broken the lower low. And again, generally in this situation is break the lower low, is come back up, we test the levels here, and then the question is, will it continue on spilling down or head on back up? So we're waiting to see what this wants to do. Yeah. So channel wise, is you can see the ascending channel that this came up in, and again potentially we're having a descending channel here where we've got 1 touch, 2, 3, and then the question is, are we going to come down and hit a 4, maybe a 32 or 37.20, or again are we heading back up first? So again, still decision time. Got to see how it plays out, and again you can see the center line playing out here as well. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking at. So let's zoom in and have a look at a couple of other things that are happening. So last night the 3-day turned. Okay. So let's have a look at what the MAs are doing on the 3-day. So you can see one of the significant things here is this green line here is the 50, and you can see the orange 5 MA came up, tested the 50 here, and literally took a turn and is rejecting back down from it. Yeah, and you can see the back test on the previous 3-day, the back test pushed through. The 100's continuing here as resistance. The 5 is taking a turn down, and I think we can say at the moment that the 10 has become resistance as well. Yeah. This green line here, this darker green line, is the 50 EMA as well. Yeah. So you can see that the turn here is looking pretty strong, the reversal, but equally the support of the 20 here on the 3-day is also there. So we're looking at breaking this. Yeah. So also there's the Bollinger. Here's the medial line of the Bollinger. Here's the VWAP, the yellow line. So we're looking at breaking this. If it breaks this, there's a drop to the 20 here at 37.47, and the bottom of the Bollinger is 35.68. So we got to see where this is going to go. Yeah. It is doing that same sideways pattern like here. Here's a bigger version of it. Here's a version of it as well. So we got to see how many more swings are in this before it finally does its move. It doesn't look like there's that many left. So now the 2-day didn't turn yesterday, but let's have a look at what has happened. Is because the 10 took a sharp turn down. The 5 was the 5, which is level now, was up here at the top of this wick. So you can see the 5 on the 2-day has come down considerably since it being up. It's level at the moment. Yeah, and again you got a wick to the 20 MA on the 2-day here. You got that first thing this morning. Yeah. So then the daily turned as well. Let's have a look. And again, VWAP is down. The 5 is making a concerted effort to get down. The 10 has gone sideways here a little bit, but the 20 is taking the turn down. Yeah. So the 10 has gone neutral here. But again, the 5 wants to push. So there is a possibility that the 5 will just keep pushing. And again, it wicked to the 100 here at 38.51. The question is, will it start testing the 50 at 37.92, or will we have that bounce back up, possibly a test off the 20 at 40.65, and again I think there's going to be at least one more trip up to test this 200 SMA at 41.69. I could be wrong about that. But we're going to see. Okay, so let's do a bit of a zoom in. My time it's 12:15, which I'm 2 hours ahead. So it's really the 10 hours, the last one to turn. Yeah, you can see it turned 13 minutes ago. Yeah. So again, a long wick, potential rejection. And again, this is why potentially a lift back up to here. Now, a couple of differences about this is when price action came down this time, you can see that the VWAP was really pushing. The 5 came down here. The 10 wasn't so committed, and neither were the 20s. They got pulled down, but they weren't really driving price action. In this position here, is you can see that the VWAP is pushing, the 5 is coming down, and the 10 is coming down with it. So rather than the 10 being pulled down, the 10 is doing part of the driving down. Yeah, and equally the 20s. If you look at the 20s, they were going to the white EMA here, 20 EMA, and the pink MA. You can see that they were going sideways. They got pulled down. In this scenario, they're doing part of the driving down. Yeah, and there is the breaking of the 55 and the EMA here and the 50. It's the 50 EMA. Yeah. These guys are getting broken, and the 10 is breaking through. The 10 is breaking through as well, and now the 20 is breaking through. So there's a definitely a more concerted effort for a push down. Yeah. So it's just a question of how strong does it want to go. So here's the 200 SMA on the 10 hour is potentially we're getting the back test, and here's the 5 breaking through the 5 MA breaking through the 200 SMA on the 10 hour. So we got to see how much conviction there is. Yeah. So one of the signs of potentially that there's going to be more push through is, I'll give you an example now. On the 18 hour is, if you look at where 5 is now, the 5 on the 18 hour took a bit of a turn up, although there was a drop. The reason being is that look here's the 50 MA on the 18 hour. There's been a breakthrough, a back test, a push to the 200, a back test, and another push through again. We're heading down for the 200 MA here. But the point I'm trying to make is that look, the 10 is committed to the push through here. Yeah. Equally, the 20s are the 20 EMA and the 20 MA are looking to break to 50 on the 80 an hour. So they're all significant. They're all significant moves. Yeah, they're not done lightly. If you remember, this is back to the daily again. Look at the 20 EMA here, and then the 20 MA is for this whole lift. They were the support. The last line of support here, yeah, the lift. They've taken a significant turn down now, yeah, and then you can see the spill on the 5. So let's not spend too much longer. Let's just zoom in a little bit more. I really want to try and say about the later hours on the day is that the 5 and 10 are in position for the spill. Is you've got this drop, but the 5 and 10 are continuing through. Is they're not cut. You don't get a big drop and then they're caught up here to catch up. Is they've caught up through this, and now there's another drop down, and the 5 and 10 are ready to go with it, and it has the backing of the 20s. So they're all in position to support resistance and to push down more. Yeah. So that's really what I'm trying to say. They're not up here catching up. They're already down the price action, ready to continue. Whether they will or not now is a question, because just with regards, just the whole sideways play of things, you can see the sideways play, just the sideways play of things. It's just a question of, has this bottomed out? Is comes back up, takes another lift up, and then goes for a deeper push down, a bit like this here, yeah. Are we looking at another lift up before another drop, or is it going to continue? It's hard to tell with the way things are so bunched up at the moment, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to look at the stock RSI, yeah. So again, the 3 hour turned, yes, or 3 day turned yesterday, which is in the blue box. Again, you can see price actions coming back in from the overbought, yeah. And then equally on the daily, you can see the daily. When we talked about this lift and the push, the daily is still pushing through. And again, there's the RSI still looking to head on down, yeah. When we look at bottom left here, this is the 12 hour. Again, the 12 hour potentially is doing something similar. Is with the stock is there's a bit of a lift here, and again potentially a turn, and that final push down could give us that final push before a reset. And again, you can see the RSI here. It's getting closer and closer to bottoming out, but hasn't done it yet. Okay, so now just to look at the go backwards a little bit, is here is the 10 hour that just turned. So again, look, the 10 hour, there's the stock as well. 10 hour just had its lift, and again just that turn down, and potentially this turn down could be stronger than this move, yeah. So that's why I'm thinking potentially we could be looking for another push down, yeah. But again, we've got to see. I'm just looking at there's the 9 hour after the stock is turned down. The 8 hour, look, the stock is turned down. So you can see all the later hours of the day are turning down for another push down, yeah. Which should bottom them all out, bottom out the RSIs on the 12 hour, potentially all the way to the daily, and then we could be getting that last lift up of this move. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So there, that's the 6 hour. Again, there's the 4 hour pushing through. Now the ones that are potentially getting a bit tired, there's the 3 hour bottoming out. But again, it can still push. You can still push more. You can see the 2 hour is again coming up for a bit of breath, and then potentially the 1 hour. The 1 hour might want to come up and catch a breath here again. And you'll notice how quickly these shorter time frames are resetting themselves. They're up and down like yo-yos at the moment, yeah. So the half hour is at the top, the 15 is at the top, and the 5 is somewhere in the middle. But you can see the hour is heading back up pretty fast, yeah. So the same thing, hour might want to go all the way back to the top, or just take a turn down and start pushing again. And equally, the 2 hour will come up and catch a breather. So to me, it looks like it's setting itself up for more continuation down. Yeah. However, we could just get more sideways. It's hard to tell where or how long this could go on for before it finishes, yeah. And this is the 1 hour. To give you an example, is the bottom of this wick. The bottom of this wick here to the top of this wick here, yeah, is practically a week. So this here, this price action here could drag on for another week till it could be next week before we get a proper big move, yeah. So we could get another. Let me just put this in here. Again, we could get another drop down here, even if we come up here like this. I still think we're going to get a drop down before we get our final lift up, yeah. And then like this here, like this here, like this here, like this here, we will get that final lift up. And what I'll be looking for is a strong move back on the 1 hour, a strong move back up into this range, the yellow line, the orange and the red. Get a strong move back up to here, and that will indicate, I believe, the end of this consolidation pattern, and then the next move is going to come in. Yeah. So between now and then, if I was to simplify it, you can see this ascending channel. You can see there's a transition out of it, and a transition into this descending channel. So we've got one level here, another level here, and potentially we could be looking at our third level here, and again finding ourselves bottoming out somewhere around the 37.50, 37.20. I know there's a lot of support around 37.50, so make it a wick down here, yeah, and then a trip back up. This could be the trip back up then, and we'd be getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5, and then potentially we get our 6 down here, yeah. And this could be our breakout to the downside. So, or we get a flip, and up it goes. And I'll give you the example of what I mean there. Yeah, is on this one is you can see that this final lift dumps. This one here, this final lift, and then it dumps. But if we're going to pump on this one here, as you can see, it came down. You get the final lift like the previous ones. This did a drop and turned around, then pumped up. So on the final lift is what I'll be looking for. Once this final lift comes in and the RSI and the hourly starts to push high, is on this final lift, look, this one came down into the 786, turned around and pumped. On this final lift, price action came down here and then very close to a 786, 702, back to the 05, and then it dumped. So you see there's quite a specific pattern to move here. This final lift, again, you get this push up, you get a correction to the 786, you get a lift, even if you put it here, back to the 05, and a dump. So you can see the final moves when they come in is there'll be a push back up to the top. It likes to do a 702 correction. If it's going to dump, it'll come back and do a 05, turn around, and then just drop. Or in this instance, it did a 70 or a 786, turned around, and then it pumped up. Yeah. So this is where we just got to be ready to go with price action when it moves here and catch the trend. But between now and then, we're still catching this sideways floating movement here. Yeah. So it does look potentially like this channel is the play of it. Yeah. That we get a touch to the bottom here. Yeah. We get a touch to the top here, and then after that, I think we got to see got to see where it wants to go. It may even want to drag this out, go back up and have a touch to here, then come and do the bottom here, and then we'll have that final lift. So that's what I'm watching. That's what I'm watching for. Yeah. So now I did this chart. I went to bed last night, and then I had a quick look, and then I saw there was a drop. So then I set up for an hour or two in the middle of the night doing this chart. Yeah. Let me just zoom it out so I'll show you. Yeah. So this is price action. Now this is the bottom of that previous bear market. Yeah. So what I've done is I've put in 3 center lines, white lines. So you can see that there's a center line through price action here. Yeah. Support and resistance line. So there's one. That's the ascending one. Here's the horizontal one, and again you can see the topping out here, the drop. This is where we get the back test and the lift. Here's the bull market. Now we're back dropping onto this. Look, we're support and resistance, resistance, support, resistance. We're back on resistance again. So again, breaking above 41.29. Basically, breaking above 42 is quite significant with regards. We're potentially moving on up, yeah. And then you have this descending channel that we're in here, yeah. So you can see we're still engaged in this descending channel. And again, will we break up, yeah, or down? So now what I've done is that you can see that there are ranges. So you can see there's the yellow, the orange, and the red. So you can see the yellow, the orange, and the red. So you can see there's channels here. So here's the center white line here. So the next level to break up significant is 51. You can see the support and resistance. Breaking through the orange here is getting up and getting back into this level here. So breaking 64, 65, and then breaking through this red level here at 77, 78. Again, there's a really strong sign of really breaking out of this lift and continuing on. You can see and continuing on the lift. So equally, when you look at the ascending channel, is the significant levels here and an ascending way is again there's breaking up through the, look where they cross over here, again the 64. Here's the orange and red breaking the 78, and again breaking through up here, breaking through the 107 or so. Would be you can see all this price action that's gone on since 2019. Is you can see the waves within this price action. Is to break above these waves and continue on, we need to be breaking above the 107 mark, and again possibly a drop back and then a continuation. But once we start getting above the 107 cleanly, is we'll be on a full breakout away from this price action, yeah, potentially. So now is just with the descending, I've just focused on this channel here, yeah, and you can see that there's a touch to the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, is this it, or are we breaking out? So some of the things I'm looking at is this white line. Is price action tried to break it here? It's been at it for a bunch of weeks, and at the moment it's failing. It's getting rejected off this white line. You can see how dominant this center line is. Equally, this support and resistance line here, you can see how dominant it has been in the history. And again, price action is below it at the moment. Is could we get another lift up and test? There's the 45, 46 mark. It will be testing this line here. It could do it. I'm not sure whether it's going to do it, but it could. And again, if that was a rejection and a break back down below these, is with this consolidation. You see this consolidation range? Look, it drops, sets a level, does a lower low, does a higher high, drops, doesn't do a lower low, comes back up and tests. If it gets rejected here and starts to break on down again, is again we could be coming back into this. Well, we're still in this channel. We could be starting to drop into this channel again, and potentially is you can see the waves here. We could continue down this channel here, yeah. back down testing these levels. So as we drop through these levels, you can see if we did, the next support level here really is around 34 and a half. There's a very strong one here again back at 33.20, and you can see how much this held. So again, we start testing these levels again. Is the next level after that, you can see is around the 28.50 mark, 26 mark, 24 and a half, and again you can see where these two red support lines are at 21.50 or so. Yeah. And if it fell through that, geez, then we're down here looking at, if it went fast, we'd be looking at something around the 16, 17, 18 range. Anyway, so you can see what I've done. And then when I zoom in, into the 4 hour, you can see at a more local time. Essentially, we've gone through, we're in this ascending channel, potentially breaking out of it, and heading down this descending channel. Yeah. And again, remember what this blue line is. This is the dominant descending channel on the way down on the later time frame. And then these yellow lines, orange lines, red lines, you can see these are markers on the way down. If it continues to break down, these will be levels of support and resistance. Yeah. So that's it. I've got these levels in different charts. I've got these levels in other charts as well. But I just thought I would zone it out more clearly with regards levels up and levels down. So very clearly on the daily, where if we're heading down, this is a zone that we drop to. This is a resistance level that we come back and test. This will be a zone we drop to for support. This will be a resistance level. And if we come down here, we'll see all this playing out here in waves. Yeah. Equally, if we head up from here, we'll see these waves of support and resistance through these levels as well. Yeah. And essentially, we've got to get all of what I just showed you. We've got to get through all these for the bull market to really take off. We've got to get back above the dollar and keep moving. Yeah. So there is a solid chance at some point we get back above the dollar and we get pushed back below it again for one more time. But really, it's getting through all this for me would be a very clear sign that the bull market's kicking in. So I'm biasly bearish while we're still in the bear market. Yeah. When it properly confirms itself and turns, well, then I'll be biasly bullish. But for now, that's where I am. Okay, so trade-wise, I was talking about price action coming down here. Is I would be looking at on the hourly. I would be looking at how this is playing out here. Yeah, and I think it's possible. Potentially is the 20s here might be a strong resistance for continuation to the downside. Yeah, because I reckon that possibly the stock RSI is wants to get back to the top here or close enough to the top. If I start to see the early RSI take a turn down, I think that could be a nice opportunity for a short. And the reason being is remember those later hours? Those later hours on the daily are turning down as they go along. As an example is the 10 hour, the RSI on the 10 hours taking a turn down. I reckon when the 12 hour turns, is the 12 hour will take a turn down as well. And the second half of the day we could have more of a push down. Yeah. So either potentially we're going to see that play out around the 20 mark, around 39.55, or if it wants to take longer, is again we see it play out back at the 50s, and we could be getting a back test of the 50 MA on the hour here. Yeah, but again, is there's a lot of there's a lot of a spill. There's a lot of a spill coming down here. So and you can look at the hour and you can see there's not a huge lift. As much as this is quite a strong rejection here, there hasn't been a huge lift on the hourlies at the moment. Yeah. So you can see here yesterday is this bottomed. It did a 1-2 for a lift. This looked potentially like it could be a 1-2 for big lifts and failed here. It got rejected at the 200s here, which is significant. You can see the back test and the rejection, and now the 20s and the 50s are coming with the 1 hour. So to me, it's indicating that there's strong potential to push down. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the stock to take a turn down, the 1 hour stock to take a turn down, and then look for a range here. When you start to see the red candles heading down, it'll set a range and look for 702. That's what I'll be doing. Now I'm still in my trade from all the way up here. 42.70, I believe, isn't it? Yeah, 42.70. There we go. Sure, there it is there. When I click it in, you can see it. So yeah, dragging out. It's just where the market is. The sideways. This is just sideways coming to the end of a cycle. Yeah. End of a large consolidation range. So let's see where it wants to go. The final thing I'll say as well with regards price action is to do with the 4 hour. Is the 4 hour had been bouncing or is bouncing along the 200 here, yeah. So here's the 200 SMA, here's the 200, I believe that's the 200 EMA, and then here's the 200 MA. So you can see on the 4 hour it bounced to these guys last time and got a strong reaction away from it. It came down and tested the 200 EMA again, back up to the 50s, pushing down again. Again, this time, look, it was the 5 coming down on the VWAP here. Now you have the 5, the 10s, the 20s, and the 50s are spilling here. So there's a much stronger concerted effort to attack the 200s here. And at the moment, there's this wick through the 200 here, and you can see the back test also to the 200 EMA. So breakthrough, back test to the 200 EMA more clearly here. And we got to see whether this can hold, yeah, and whether we get the push through. So if this doesn't hold, the next level after that will be again around 39.75 or so, and there's quite a few MAs coming down there. So again, I'd be looking for some sort of topping out and reversal pattern around here. So again, depending on this is the last thing I'll say. Like the 10 hour has turned here. You can see, look how strong the 5 is coming down here, and the spill, even the 50. So there's a proper spill mode positioning going on here. Again, I'm well aware that this is also quite a rejection candle. So, but maybe this is the spike through before the breakthrough, where this one is the spike through, and again it was rejected. This could be the wick through, and then the push through comes. Yeah. And there's the 12 hour. There's the 12 hour. There's the VWAP doing a strong push. Here's the 10 coming down. You see the 5 holding things here. It'll be interesting to see what the 5 wants to do now on this 12 hour. It'll be interesting to see what it wants to do, because these guys are ready to spill. They're breaking through the 50 on the 12 hour here. This 50 here, even to be honest, the 50 looks like it could be ready to take a turn down as well. I don't think it'll do it on the next turn. But it'll be interesting to see where this 5 goes. If this 5 is willing to take a turn back down, again, it just helps with that trigger for that spill. Yeah. So that's where I'm at the moment. Yeah. So let's see where it wants to go, and watch. It'll probably be New York by the time New York. By the time the 12 hour turns, it could couple of hours after that, New York will be kicking in, and I think the direction will be decided later on this afternoon. Yeah. Okay, so I know I've waffled on there, but again, it's good to tell the story. There's so many pushes and pulls here. It's good to just tell the story and talk it through as it's gone along. Yeah. Okay, for now that's me. Enjoy the rest of your day.